Hello and welcome to Biofilm News. My name is Pavel Rizhov. This is your source for latest news in the healthcare, pharmaceutical industry and life science research. Please subscribe to this channel, follow me on Instagram at Biofilm News and share this video. Let's get started. I recently realized that I never really addressed why I called my channel Biofilm News. Well, I'm a movie fan. I like comic book movies, action, comedy, adventure, fantasy, and I wanted to try and merge my scientific expertise with my love of those movies by answering some of the questions that I come across while watching them. Therefore, after watching Avengers Endgame, I was inspired to do this video. Basically, the antagonist of the previous movie, Avengers Infinity War, Thanos, was going after the Infinity Stones, magical objects which allowed him to, spoiler alert, essentially eliminate half of all life across galaxy. The reason why he chose to do this was he was convinced that the galaxy came to the point of overpopulation and that the amount of resources in the galaxy was finite. Now let's think about our planet and consider his argument. Do we have an overpopulation problem, and are our planetary resources at their limit or about to be depleted in the next few years? Let's break it down. Our current population is around 7.5 billion people, and it continued to grow for the past decades and is still bound to grow at a considerable rate. But just how fast it is about to grow? According to experts, the reason for such growth in recent years can be attributed to rapid economic development and improvement in quality of life in many countries. And it makes sense, doesn't it? If you live in a country that is not plagued by wars, have access to healthcare with good wages, you're bound to have more kids and live longer. Now let's consider where we're headed. Economic growth in countries starts to slow down, and the burden of overpopulation is starting to be felt by the middle class in the form of increased taxes, and that families are starting to form at later age. This means that the rate of the overpopulation is bound to decrease, unless there will be some positive major breakthrough that would allow people to work past their current retirement age. So far, Thanos is on point, doesn't he? Amount of people is still increasing and the amount of resources doesn't really change. Now, let's touch the topic of resources. By resources, we generally mean commodities such as food, space to live, access to natural resources, and other types of infrastructure that allows people to live and thrive. So, are we at a point where we do not have enough resources? Let's break it down. First, let's ask ourselves, are the resources that we have generally shared between people equally? No, not really. The access to food, water, other infrastructure really depends on where you live, and it's very unfortunate. So if you're Thanos, and if you just eliminated half of the population, you didn't necessarily solve the problem. All you've done is you have reduced the number of people per number of resources, but you didn't really change how those people get access to those resources. And that's the key. If you can change how people get access to the resources, you may not need to solve the overpopulation problem. And in fact, you will end up improving the quality of life, not just for the current population, but for the growing population. So Thanos is wrong, obviously. So if you haven't watched Avengers Endgame yet, go check it out to see if he got his comeuppance. And please subscribe and share this video, and I'll see you next time.